Page 24. Honoring one's parent through speech. One is obligated to honor one's parents through the manner in which one speaks to them. The Mechilta indicates that the simple meaning of the verse refers to honoring them verbally. That means, Kabed es avicha v'simecha, shomea ani b'dvorim, Talmud lomer kabed es Hashem mehoncha. That means just from the pasuk side of the pasuk, it seems to imply that you have to honor them by speaking to them with a lot of respect. And then when it says mehoncha, which means from your wealth, that's b'meichel b'mishnu ksus nikiyah. So the Sefer Charedim expands on that and says, Dibur chamishi daser sa dibros of kabed zavicha simecha chayav lechabdam bedibur shidabra aleim benachas. Never raise your voice, always quiet. Loshen raka, kovid va'adnus, kemedaber lemelech, as if you were speaking to a king. And that's the pshuto shel mikvah. And the first parak in Kiddushin, va'medaber kashos la'aviv le'imo. If you speak harshly to your parent, avol pi shemachilim tarnagolos mefutomos, you feed him a fatted chicken, yorish gehenim. Rav Yosef adds that one must speak in a manner that raises their spirits when necessary, and ensure that one's words do not cause them distress. They're worried. Yidabra alibam, diveritzu upius, to relax them, largiam l'samcha, to make them happy. V'yeshlo leben lizar, his son should be careful. Shlo l'saper lahar advarim sheyitzaru oisam. Don't even talk to them about things that might upset them. Elim kein yesh tzorech sheyadu medav, unless they need to know. The Chayei Adam says that the honoring one's parents through speech also is expanded to situations that involve their standing with regards to others as well, even if one is not speaking directly to one's parents. So he says, B'dibur ketzad. Larry, I'm teaching a class right now. I'll have to call you back. Okay, bye. Hayat tzarech shum davar be'ir. Let's say a person needs something done in the city. They'll know that they'll fulfill his need by mentioning his father. Even though they'll do it for him as well. Do me this favor because of a favor to me. If he's in doubt which way to go, he can do what he wants. If he knows that the city, there are people who do not like his father, he can avoid even requesting it on the name of his father. Because they'll say, oh, we're not going to do it for your father, so it makes worse issues. By the way, the Chayei Adam gives you a little biography of him, and it says that his works became the most popular halachic works for Balabatim to study in Europe until the advent of the Mishnah Berurah. And there were groups that studied the Chayei Adam as chaburas.
Who's on page before? Who's the Sokim Tshuva?
Yeah, so I mentioned the Pischei Tshuva.
Is that who the Pischei?
No, was Rav Simcha Rabinowitz, and his son wrote in the same style as his father's Pischei Tshuva, but it's a new sefer, and it's primarily on Yoreh De'ah, while the Pischei Tshuva was on Orach Chaim. Now, you are supposed to honor your parents in your mind, says the Sefer Charedim. When he says, Matzino kibud b'lei, d'chsiv Hashem mi yagur b'oalecha. Who will dwell in your tent? It says in Tehillim. It says, Nivze be'enav nimas. One who is disgraced in the eyes of Hashem is also disgusting. Hainu einei asechel. It refers to the mind. Sheyachshav ha'ona b'libo. Ki hu nivze umos v'nikle. He has to have that in mind in his mind. And then the Sefer Dekrav es Yirei Hashem yikabed v'makibud b'dvorim uv'masa b'lvad v'lo b'leiv hari mashva osam lo. So you have to equate. You can't act one way and in your mind think something else. Your mind. You have to honor your parents in your mind as well. You can't think shehem nivzim u'mu'isum be'enav kamo Rak mechabed osam bepeh, and he's only honoring them by through lip service. B'nei shai yizborach tziva ela korcha chikomar. Ves yirei Hashem yichabed be'einav sheyidame belibo shem gdolim v'nichbodei aretz. You have to actually implant it in your mind that they are gedolim. Shezeu ikar kibudam. That's really the root of the kibud. Mitoch kach vada yichadim b'dibur ma'isa. That will lead to real kibud b'dibur v'ma'isa. V'amavaze aviv o imo belibo o b'dvorma b'ma'isa shesoyser divrayim. For example, he disagrees with them, or yoshev mokam yuchad lehem, or he sits in their seat. V'kayotza b'zeh nemar aru makla aviv v'imo. It's a curse. Or pirsho she'en loshen klala el loshen bizoyon vashkon bizoyon belev. And there's even bizoyon that you could have towards your parent in your heart, like it says vativas lo beliba uniklesi od mezova yiti shafel beinai uksiv vatikal gvirta beinai, like when with Hagar and Sarah. Vazomer Shlomo ayin taleg laav v'tovus likachas aim yikrua orvei nachal v'yochlu v'nei nesher. So from here you see very clearly that you have to sort of implant in your mind kibud even on a mental basis. Hayada mentions this as well, that you have to have it in your mind, based on this pasuk in Tehillim that the Sefer Charedim quoted, Machshava k'dichsiv niv zebein of nimas v'sirei Hashem yichabed, is a connection. Vaynu yichabed b'machshava, you should honor them with your thoughts. De'ein lomar shebelibo ve'ein avhem nivzim rak shemechabed or something. We can't say, oh, in my heart I really hate them, but I'm just doing actions that benefit them. El al korcha. The Ratzaloim Shemechadem Belibo, Shem Chashum Beinav Belibo. You have to have a big chashivus of them in your mind. Hainu sheyidme be'enav Shem Gedolim v'nich b'nei Aretz. Av shebe'enei sharp b'nei Adam einam chashuvim klal. Even though other people don't really see that your parent is like that, but you have to have that in your mind. Zeikar kibud. Shem lokein. If you don't do that, are eksiv befiv usfos of kabduni v'libo richek b'mani. He's in a different pasuk that says, if you just do lip service, you don't have it in your heart, that's going to be a negative. Now, how do you fulfill this directive of the Chai Adam, that you have to sort of put it in your mind? Can one lie to oneself and distort reality if that's not the facts? So Rav Nifson Karelitz in the Chut Shani says, "Masha kosar Chai Adam sheyid mebe'enav shohar v'dolav v'nichbedei aretz hainu b'yachas elov." It means related to the child. Shehergesh shel kavod la'aviv v'imo tzarich lios yachas shel kavod. She'aviv v'imo hem agdolim v'hu hakoten klapeim. He has to view himself as inferior to his parent. V'tarchu ba tarchos merubos. He has to do a lot of work for them. Harizah mechayiv sheyachas aleim yeh beregesh shel kavod. V'ofen shemizbat aleim v'nichtem ifneim. V'nei shem chashuv v'yotzim mimenu. You have to have in mind that they are greater than you. Some people are impressed by their friends. You have honor for a certain person for various reasons that you might have. That's why you honor him. Sometimes you do honor people, even though you're not really necessarily thinking about what their milas are. Or he did something good for you. He has to implant for his parents, afilu in mevin yoser, even if he's smarter than his parents. Like, for example, in our generation, where we went to college, and many of our parents did not go to college. Af she'en b'matzav she'en b'em das, or she'enim avinim lerucho. So you have to reject that kind of thinking, and you have to honor them just because of because of the fact that they're your parents. Even if the parent chepes him, pains him, he has to be quiet. Like a person saved you from a great sorrow, or saved your life, or took him out of some kind of financial distress. If somebody does that for you, you're going to be mechabed him. The one who was saved is viewed as inferior. Not really inferior, he's just caught neged him. Really, he could be less smart than you, But because he did something, a big toiva for you, you can have a lot of covet for him. Mesha klape atoiva she'asri mahu bata klaba. V'zeh shekaz v'chay adam. Shezeh ikar kibud. Meshu arshor sh'tziv atar b'kibud amora avivimo. Because without your parent, you wouldn't be here. So therefore, regardless of any of these calculations, you have to view your parents with honor and respect simply because they gave him life, irrespective of whether you think they are knowledgeable or upright, as if somebody who's saved your life and you wouldn't, doesn't make a difference what his status is towards you. You're going to honor him. You have to have the same treatment for your parent. Now, who has to pay? We said kibbud avayim. You have to feed them. You have to clothe them. Whose purse does that come out of? Come out of the parent or come out of the person? The Gemara in Kiddushin cites a discussion between Amoraim whether the money used to honor one's parents is given by the parent or by the child. Iboilu, Mishal mi. From who has to come the money? Rav Yudah Omar, Mishal ben. Rav Nosson bar Shia Omar, Mishal av. It's a machlokes tanoi. Oy relay bon Rav Yirmiyah. The paskin for Rav Yirmiyah, and some say liberate Rav Yirmiyah, commando Ora Mishal av. That it seems like Chazal were anointed that you have to clothe them and feed them, but you can draw the funds from your parents' checking account. However, Meisvei, Nemar kabed is mecha. Nemar kabed is Hashem ehoncha. It says you shall respect him from your own fortune. Malahon b'chisoron kis, kavod Hashem ehoncha is financial loss. Avkan b'chisoron kis. Now v'yamet mishalav. If you're going to tell me that the payment for the food or the clothing is coming from the father, my nafkalimine. That means what kind of financial losses would it be for you? So libatul malacha, because you might think, well, I have to stay awake from work, and I'm going to lose money that way. So Toshma, Sholos Rav Eliezer, Arhechan kibbud avayim. How far does it extend? Arbalem kadesh yitol arniki. That means if your parent grabs your purse, which is full of money, and throws it into the ocean, v'yizaken liyam b'fanav eino machlimo. You cannot say something that would embarrass your father or mother. Now, if, again, the kibbud has to come from the father, the fact that he threw away your money, you should have a claim against him. So, my nafki lemine. So, again, beroy liyorsha. There's no riot from there that has to come from you. This person was about to inherit anyways. So, it really was a loss for him.
Only Montgomery who said that you have to do with your own money. Who has priority, your father or your wife or children? If you have, let's say, just enough bread for your father, and you have enough for your wife or children, who do you give it to? Who takes priority? There's no kibbud for a wife.
It's not a matter of kibbud. You are mechuyev to take care of your wife and children through the ksuba. It's a financial document.
That takes precedent over.
I don't know. No, because kabed zavicha is a mitzvah doraisa. So the chiyuv. The chiyuv, I mean, if you only have a set amount of money, perhaps we're going to be dealing with that. You might be jumping the gun. We'll have to see. Huh? Say it again?
Ishto kegufo. This is with the vaktaba. So you may have, if you really had $1, you had to basically,
But I'm sure that's it's a question choshen mishpat that there's an answer to it.
It's not about a child, the father's one, it's not his child.
No, but our responsibility to our wives financially is through the ksuba. There's mafarnes, you have to feed, and you have to clothe, and so that's a financial chiyuv, okay? But the ksuba is midrabanan. So anyway,
Side thing, and I asked a question one to the Rabbi Weiss from Israel. What's his name? The one that the Tom Chacham, the Asher Weiss. I'm sorry. He was talking about if you take medication. Let's assume you're very sick. You got to do everything possible to keep yourself alive. Now let's assume you've got this medication that's cost you $10,000. We're not sure if it's going to save you or not, but it's a 10-15% chance that you might make it with this medication. Are you allowed to bankrupt yourself to help in other words, taking the money away from the family that's going to need it when you die, because you might be spending $1 million.
no, you could certainly spend it for your own health. Pikuach nefesh, it's for your own life.
For your own thing.
Chayecha-
Forget about when there's nothing left
Chayecha
over,
koidmin.
even though I only have a 10-15% chance of making it.
Chayecha koidmin. That means if you are in a rowboat with another person, and you have water, so you don't have to, and you know, and if you shared it, that's a famous sugi in the Gemara. You drink the whole water. If you split it, both of you would die. If you drink it, because
Yeah, but
So-
if you drink, you have a chance of living. Here, if I take the medication,
You also have a chance of
the
living.
percentage are very low.
but without it, you're going to die.
I'm gonna die for sure without
There's
it.
a mandamar there that says if you split it, then your circumstances may change. It may take you a little bit
We
further.
don't paskin like
You
that.
paskin,
We don't.
right.
Rabbi Kiva says chayefekoi. Again, it's not. Again, that's you have to clear an answer. I'm not giving you the definitive answer. We have to see what the answer is regarding that. So the Gemara cites the ruling of the Chachamim that the halacha is in accordance with the opinion that the money that you use comes from the parent, and the son or daughter have no obligation to spend their own money. But the Gemara raised an objection against this ruling, since it is answered. It would seem that this should be the halacha, and it's indeed the opinion of Shulchan Aruch in the next source. Nevertheless, meaning it has to come from the child as well. Nevertheless, the Shulchan Aruch qualifies this ruling with the caveat that should the father or mother not have sufficient funds to support themselves, the son or daughter would in fact be obligated to support them, according to their financial abilities. Like it says, Zeh shemachilo, it says in the Shulchan Aruch in Yordea, Zeh shemachilo mashkeu, it's mishel av ve'em. You can use your parents' funds, im yeshlo, if they have. V'mein la'av, v'yesh leben, koifno, so Bezdin can come and force the son to give out the money for the father. V'zon aviv kifi mashu yochol. Now, v'mein leben, eino chayav lazor lapsochim lachilas aviv. You don't have a requirement to go knocking on the door for your
It only
parents.
applies to a son.
Say it again.
Only applies to a son. Not a woman? Only applies to a son, not a woman?
Well, the Shulchan Aruch is talking because usually the father is the one that is in control of the kaspi. But
Is there a question
if
of-
let's say it's a mother, let's say there's only a daughter, and the daughter has assets, the parent doesn't, so the daughter would have the same chiyuv. There's no reason why not.
Kivudov applies to.
It's not a mitzvah sensation
The daughter has
man
assets, we're talking about, let's say.
That's what
the
you asked
daughter's
about the-
married to, married, and she only has assets really for her husband.
unless she came in with nichsei malog.
If she didn't.
Okay, then she doesn't have assets, and the husband would not be required to do it. There would no be chiyuv. There's no be chiyuv. It's not his parent.
But is she required then to go to work to try to get her own funds?
Well, he doesn't. The Shulchan Aruch doesn't have to go knocking on doors. So, but if she regarding work, now remember the money a wife works belongs to the husband.
So that's the question, so that's where you have the issue, so if she does go to work.
It
right?
belongs to the husband. My see a
So-
dime goes to the
so
husband.
the
Remember,
question is-
that's a trade-off in the ksuba.
Does it apply then to the woman?
No, I was saying an independent woman. So if a woman had nichsei malug, if she had assets that belonged to her, so she would fall into this category where she would have to provide it.
Right, but if she doesn't,
If she doesn't, I think it's questionable.
and she's working, she's saying.
It's also a problem because it belongs to the husband. We're talking about chiyuvim. If the husband's a good guy, he's going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, we're talking, of course, but we're talking about,
Strict chiyuv.
right,
Yeah. Why would why would you think the husband would be required to do that?
maybe the woman could say.
Now we're gonna see, Chama-
Listen,
so-
I have an obligation to keep it up, so even though normally the money goes into the household, or, right, the husband, so no, in this case, I have to allocate some to her parents.
Well, I would say like this: we're going to see what are the dinim of mother-in-law and father-in-law, chamav and chamoisai, because there's an extension of kibbut av. So there could be that maker adin,
Yeah.
the husband would have a requirement to do that. So this issue of a number of Rishonim raise a contradiction to this halacha from the story of Dama ben Asina, who lost a huge amount of his own money in order to honor his father. In the story in the Kiddush, Amar Rav Yidamar Shmuel Shalus Rabbi Eliezer Arechan Kibbut Aveim Amar Lam Tzuru Ma'asu Goyechad Lavi B'Ashkelon. The Dama ben, it's a little different than what the Meiri quoted. Dama ben Asina Shmuel Bikshu Ben Chacham Avonim LaEfod B'Shishim Ribu Schar. They needed a jewel. Rav Kana Masli B'Shmoinim Ribo, either 600,000 or 800,000. And V'ayim Avtech Munach Tachas Mershos of Shalavi V'lo Tzior, he didn't wake up his father. L'shon Acheres Nasakadosh Baruch Scharon Shenodlo Paraduma Be'edro. He was granted a Paraduma Nichtusu Chachamim Yisrael Etzlo Amr Lahem I could ask whatever I wanted, and you would give it to me. But if he has to lose it, that seems to be going against the chiyuv that it goes on the father. So the fact that the extent of the mitzvah of kibbud is derived from the actions of David ben Asina, who was prepared to suffer even his own financial loss, not to wake his sleeping father, it undermines the conclusion that the financial obligation of kibbud was placed upon the father. So Tosas Sarosh and other Rishonim offer some tirutzim to this problem. That in the case of David ben Asina, it's not like he lost money. He lost potential profit. So he can't really claim that he lost. Okay? And then, although one need not honor one's parents with one's own money, one may not cause them anguish, even if one thereby loses money. So that's what Tosfos Harosh says. Why didn't he wake his father? He didn't lose. He just didn't gain. He gave up on the profit that he could have gotten. You can't cause pain or suffering. By waking him up, you would have caused pain and suffering, so you couldn't do that. Okay. Now, up until now, we've been dealing with issues that directly benefit them, giving them food, clothing, speaking properly to them. Sometimes parents ask their children to do things that do not provide direct benefit to the parents. They want you to attend a certain event. They tell you, don't go outside without wearing a jacket. They want you to become a doctor or a lawyer. They say what vocation. Is there an obligation of honoring one's parents regarding those requests that don't necessarily benefit themselves physically? The Ramban and Rashba claim that there is no obligation to listen to one's parents in cases that do not directly affect them. They derive this from the Gemara in Yevamos that discusses the question of whether a positive mitzvah, mitzvah saseh, overrides a negative mitzvah that entails kores, and attempts to bring a proof from the mitzvah of honoring one's parents. Just as honoring his parents if they ask their child to violate a prohibition, he doesn't listen to them. So too regarding all mitzvahs, we say that a positive mitzvah does not override a negative mitzvah. The Gemara refutes this proof by declaring that listening to one's parents is only a hechsher mitzvah. It's not really a mitzvah. It's a preparation for them.
So if he tells you to close the light on Shabbos.
You're not allowed to close the light on Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Because you're not allowed to violate anything that if a parent tells you to do something that's a lav, you can't listen because...
No,
you
but
have-
if he's sick, he's mentally, he doesn't know what day it is, the father. In other words, there's too
Even
much
if he
light.
does.
That's the
You
easy
shouldn't
case.
do it, you should say, I'm sorry, I can't call, you know what I mean?
That's the easy case. So
What's
let's
easy case?
say a parent says, listen, there's a big Kiddush show, and I want you to, come, not go to your show, but come to my show for the Kiddush, right?
So that's exactly your,
Or don't-
the point that the halacha now is dealing with is things that don't directly affect the parents physically. Like,
Right, sure. Telling them not, right.
hang on,
That affects
we're gonna deal with that. So let's see the sugya in Yevamos. Yachol yekibud aveim dochas Shabbos. I may think that the mitzvah say is doicha the love of Shabbos. Now, the sugya there is more complicated because although normally mitzvah says do override lo tases, a regular lav greda is overridden. For example, the famous case is Mila, where you have a mitzvah of Mila, right? And let's say there's a baheres on the foreskin which you're not allowed to cut off. So the mitzvah saseh of Mila overrides now. But you can say, but Mila is a mitzvah saseh where if you don't do it, there's kores involved. But for example, other mitzvahs, for example, tzitzis, which is not involved. Even though it's shatnez, you're allowed to wear tzitzis. The mitzvah saseh of tzitzis overrides the lav of shatnez. These are regular mitzvah sasehs and lav greda. The Gemara is now wants to extend it, that maybe even it'll go to a lav that has kores attached to it. That the Gemara is not sure about. So I might think, says the Gemara, that the mitzvah of kibbud av overrides Shabbos. Now remember, Shabbos isn't just a lav, the Gemara is going to say. There's also an aseh, of shvisa. So although an asay will be doicha a los asay, it's not doicha a los asay with an asay. So since Shabbos has a combination of an asay and a lot asay, we may not quote that part of it, but the Gemara over there does end up. So initially, it's sort of battling the asay versus the lot asay alone. Talmud Lomer ish imov aviv tirau, the eshap soisaiti shmorani Hashem. So here there's a special gzeres hakosuv that in the same pasuk of Kibud Av, it mentioned Shabbos. Kul chayim chayevin b'chvodi. That means everyone is mechubed in my honor, Hashem's honor. My love damarle shchotli basheli. So let's say the father says on Shabbos, shech this animal for me. I want to eat it. So that's a personal thing that he needs for food, or cook for me. At the time, it calls Rachmana es Shabbos Sosaiti Shmor. We don't do it, but that's only because there's a pasuk. Exeres Hakosva told me that I don't. Halav hachi. If it wasn't for that pasuk, dochi, it would have been doicha even the Shabbos. More says lo. There's no proof because there it's talking about a lav de machamer. The lav of machamer is loading an animal and packing it and following after it. That lav doesn't have kores. It's a lav greda. So the Gemara gets out of its potential problem to say that the lav over there that's being overwritten is not a lav that has kores attached to it. It's a regular lav.
Is it Rabbanan then? The same thing?
No, but it's not. It's not midrabbanan. It's midoraisa, but it's a regular lav malchus without kores.
If the law was Rabbanan, then you still can't be, you still don't say, es dochalos hasef, es los hasef Rabbanan.
Esa is doichalos asay. A regular asay is doichalos asay, but not kores.
No, kibbutz though.
Kibbutz is a regular asay.
Dochalos hasef.
Any mitzvah asay is usually doicha a lav.
Tells you to do a Rabbanan.
It's doicha a lav min Torah, not min
No,
rabbanan.
but a lav Rabbanan.
Certainly, if it's doicha a lav min daraisa, it's certainly doicha a lav min rabbanan.
So if to Mechal-
But machamer is not lav derabanan. It's a deraisa dika lav without kores. So the Gemara wanted to deal with, does a mitzvah say doicha a lav that has kores and wanted to bring me a case of Shabbos? It rejects that proof because it says that the lav that's being dealt here with is the lav of machamer, which is an exception to the general rule of Shabbos, which has kores or skila attached to it.
So if your father tells you to carry in the simta where it's just a Rabbanan, I mean, can you do it?
No, that's what the pasuk.
That's the laws of Shabbos, because there's a connection between
If it's a-
Kibbutz Av and Shabbos. So Hashem says everyone has to listen to my law,
But it's a Rabbanan, even if it's a Rabbanan.
even if it's a drabban.
Oh, yeah, okay, so good.
Afilu hachi loy dachi, the kaimelan the asiyah say v'dachi losa say ligmar mehacha the loy litchi. So why don't we learn from here that it's not doicha? It's everywhere in the Torah. The chite meshani lavi the Shabbos the chamiri. Maybe we can't learn from here to other lavim because Shabbos has a special chumrah. V'haitana ba'amakoi. He just mentioned it v'lokoporach, and there was no kasha like that asked. The Tanya Yachol Amar Lo Aviv He Tameh. For example, let's say he's a kohen, and the father says, "Go into a cemetery." Osha Omer Lo Al Tachzir. Right? There's a gazela, and he tells him, "Don't return it." Yachol Yishama Lo Talmud Lomer Ish Imov Avitirau. Ve'Shabbos Seit Yishmani Hashem. Kulchem Chayavim B'Chvodi. These are not connected to Shabbos. Elam Mishum Dekel Mefrich Malach Hanach Shekein Hechsher Mitzvah. So the Gemara wants to say in the end that here it's not really a direct mitzvah asay, it's a hechsher mitzvah. So that's why these mitzvahs of Kibud Av are not being doicha these lavim, because it's not a full-fledged mitzvah. Like it says, the Ramban and Rashba derive from the fact that the Gemara described listening to one's parents as a hechsher mitzvah, not a proper mitzvah, that the obligation to honor one's parents by listening to them is not considered a mitzvah unless they receive direct physical benefit. Then it's a mitzvah.
them,
Then it's a
cooking
full
for them on
mitzvah.
Shabbos.
Cooking, feeding them, etc. But all these other aspects that we said you might do for a parent, that's just a hechsher mitzvah. Well, let's see the Rashba himself. Nir and Divir Rabbeinu Chananel, Shapirish Dalav de Mechamer Koi, that really it was not a proof because it wasn't dealing with a regular lav of Shabbos, it was lav de Mechamer. Kloimer, Lo'olam b'lav de Mechamer. Udika Kashalach Ligmar Mehacha Deloy Dochi. Let's turn around and learn the fact that it's not doicha to other places in the Torah. Shani Hacha the Ein Bitulo El Hechsher Mitzvah Bilvad. was not really a mavata because it's not really a full-fledged mitzvah. Uv'shasha mavatal alav lo makayim aseh mamish. There was no really kiyum of a mitzvah saseh. It was a hechsher. If you go into Armel Aviv, chamer achar behema zu lahavi goizelos. Go walk after this donkey and bring me some birds. Oy davar shetzarech lanus mimenu. The other benefit. Leficha kashu machamer ein ze me'moshe shel kavod. It's not a direct action of kibbut, like feeding him directly. It's leading to that, like preparing the knife for a milah, cooking, heating up the water for the milah. It's not the milah itself, which would be doich. It's a hechsher mitzvah. The real kibbud is direct physical benefit. Put shoes on him. I want you to come to this kiddush or whatever. It's not direct mitzvah. Right? Really, a normal asay is doicha a lav greater, but here we're not talking about
It's
that.
gonna make the father depressed, isn't that, physically depressed? I mean, it might, psychologically tells his son, come to my kiddush that I'm making, it's very important for me, and the
So
son doesn't
Jerry
go.
gives a good point, just because we said before, you got to make sure not to be mitzayir him. So you're walking a fine balance. You may not be makayim a full-fledged mitzvah, but if you don't do it, you could be mitzayir your parent, which is a problem. So you have to put that into your calculation, what you're going to do.
Actually, it's paying the kiddush, if they're giving,
Where do you have that
parent
mitzvah?
is giving.
Say it again?
Giving the yard
That
side.
you can't be mitzvah.
Yeah.
We said, look, the Tosfos Sarosh on page 31 said, "The eino chayv l'chabdo mishalo mikol makom osur l'tzara b'shvil revach shelo." You can't kind of.
It's not talking about money there, it's not talking about.
Although the Tosfos Sarosh specifically mentions not making a profit in the second answer, it would seem that the contrast to the first answer, that the primary issue is not distressing one's parent, even if it would cause one a loss.
What page is that?
Page 31.
Yeah.
You cannot be mitzvah the parent.
Okay.
Similarly, Rav Kolon writes that there is no obligation of honoring one's parents regarding matters that don't relate to them directly. The Marik, right? That's the Rav Kolon. Od the Adkan lo mifagli imishalav imishalen ben ela bedavar shaycha begave parnasas ha'av. This debate whether the money has to come from the father, the parent, that's the goof of the father. Shetzorech goof ha'av v'kilo. Ava b'milsa de lo shayich begave. It's not directly affecting him. Ki hoch pshita de in koch lav limchos beben. Lo mishum kovev lo mishum mora. He can't protest against the son not doing it. The lo shach kovev ele kagon machilo mashkeo mabisho. Moira lo yoshem imkomo v'lo soser dvorav. Can't sort of contradict his words. Chen biyotzav because the shayich lav avu b'milsa de lo shayich av begave pshita de in koch lav limchos biyad beno. The father really can't have any claim on the son that he didn't, come to the kiddush. However, the Tzitz Eliezer cites earlier achronim that states even if this position is accepted, if one does not listen to one's parents in these cases, if he does listen to his parent, he fulfills a mitzvah. It means if they tell you come to the kiddush and you come, there's mitzvah's kibbud, right? B'shuv b'shivas nafesh. Mechadish medidei begeter chiyuv kibbudav. Because of kiadavar bor, it's clear kibbumida lo shayach av begavev. It's not a personal direct thing to the father. Ein mitzvah's kibbut shalaben. It's not a full-fledged mitzvah. Mochich zos mesugas hashas, like we went through. V'rak moisav v'koisav, but he adds neidiyesh gvul chiyuv. We're seeing that there's a limitation of the chiyuv. Mashianish kishiyamone. If he sort of holds things back, mikomakom kol sheyoysev l'chabdo yoyser makapel schar. The more he does, he's going to get more reward for it. Right? Because Hashem wants that. Well, the Pella be'ena alagona moira harav Rav Aryeh Leib, the Meshivas Nefesh Shaloi Zochar, ki achidush zekvar nemar b'toreset shel Rishonim. The Tzitz Eliezer mentions that there are other Rishonim that had mentioned this. But the Sefer HaMakneh concludes that there is an obligation to listen to one's parents, even regarding matters that are not directly related to them, based on the mitzvah of Mora, revering one's parents. Since the mitzvah of Mora includes not contradicting one's parents, it should also include not listening to them. That means if you're supposed to not contradict them, and they tell you to do something, you're contradicting them by not going along, says the Makna. Right? So he bases his limud on that. Nira, anything that the father wants you to do, even though he doesn't get a personal benefit, if he has no financial loss, in fact, if he doesn't listen, he's like being soiserous dvar, so he's violating Moira. And look in he sends us to Yoredeya at the end of Simon Reish Mem that the Ramah says Ima'av moicha beben lisa eze isha she chafetz bo ben. Let's say the father doesn't like a shidduch, ein tzarich lishmo lo. Ramah says you don't have to listen to the father. Mashmat l'dvar macherim avu pisha ein lavano imen tzarich lishmo lo. So it's an exception by shidduch. So shidduch you don't have to listen, but it implies he's medayik from here that anything else you do have to listen. So it seems like a machlokes regarding this issue. So according to the Hamakneh, this rule is derived from the fact that the Ramah allows you to disregard one's parents in choosing a marriage partner, which is a case that does not involve direct benefit to the parents, but other cases you are obligated to listen to parents. And the Chazon Ish agrees, based on the way he interpreted the Rashba, which is a little different than what we did, that even if the parents derive no benefit from the request they ask, if they request that the son do something, not heeding their request is no less severe than contradicting their words. So he's really following the Makna exactly. When he not listen to them, only a case where the parents do not have a specific opinion, but rather suggests one course of action to the child, and do not mind if he prefers a different course. But if they do mind, Lefi the Chazon Ish, it would be
So
problematic.
even with the marriage, or what?
No.
No, not a shidduch.
Marriage is an
Everyone
exception.
agree. Even the Chazon Ish agrees that.
Yeah, because the Ramah said it beferish.
So he says-
We're going to learn. There's a shear. There's going to have a whole shear on it, on the Inyan of your wife. I mean, I'm talking about by Kibbud Av. It's going to be in volume 2. I mean, excuse me, in the Kibbud Av Beis. We're still in Kibbud Av Aleph. But we just read the Ramah. The Ramah says very clearly that you do not have to follow the parent if they don't like the shul. But let's see the Chazon Ish's language. Muvur ben Ivreim, she'ena ben chayv lasos ratzon aviv, b'ma she'en la'av shum to'elet. Right? If there's no any result to the father, he doesn't have to listen. Chen kosev Ramban, ve'harashba, and the Gra brought it as well. Miu kosher. But the Chazon Ish says there's a problem. The kosev toisus b'kiddushin, daf lamed aleph, Dibra Maskol Rav Tarfon, B'Shem Yerushalmi, the Ritzon Azeu Kibud. The Ima'av Rotzeh B'Takanas B'no. Right, the father wants to correct the child. Umitztar Kenosa Isha She'enel Rotzon Av. He's marrying somebody that the father's not happy with. Lama Yevishal Litzaro. Ve'eno B'Chal Moira. So the Tosfos asks, why isn't that a problem? Lama Davaz Rekal Misoyser Dvarav B'Chras Adas Bilvad. In the deal in this issue of whether a lav is doicha and asay, lo chashav asay shel Torah. That's but the efshar the kavanas Rashi we call makom hu chiv doraisa. But you still might have to listen to the father, not necessarily against the lav. Sheri ratzon ator bekibud avul moira. Ela sheikar asay will be kibud shel machilu mashkeu. Umi divrei atoytzes radru bedavar she'en la'av ratzon klab u'maisa shemitzvos. It's dealing with a side issue, not necessarily relating to a personal benefit for the parent. But something that he really wants, the way the Marik mentioned, nowhere have we seen that you can cause pain to your parent by not listening to him. What the father should sort of subsume his own ratzon because of the son. If a son doesn't have to give his parents something that because his father wants it, even if that means you have to feed your parent, but your parent sees you have a nice leichter, he can't demand it from you as a chiyuv. So there's a reason why he can't be doicha the choice of your wife. So Chazon Ish quoted the Ramban and the Rashba, but interprets them to refer to a case where the father has no specific desire for the action that he requests his son to perform. But where he really desires that the son fulfill his request, he would claim the Rashba and the Ramban would agree with him. All would agree that the son is obligated to do so. So according to the Yalkut Yosef, however, the halacha is not in accordance with the Chazon Ish. But he says it's proper to be machmir. Nechlaku b'poskim, im shayachas mitzvahs kibud avo, ein b'dover she'en letzorch to'al tov anotol shalav. So, as usual, Ovad Yosef summarizes the whole thing. He shows that there's a machlokas in this question of whether or not, when a parent asks you to do something that doesn't relate directly to his physical well-being, kigon she'omer lo al tikneh sod ploinis. Father says, don't buy that field. You don't buy that piece of real estate. Im yesh b'zeh mitzvahs kibud aveim o lo. V'das rova poskim she'ein b'zeh mitzvahs kibud aveim. So you don't have to listen to the parent. V'chein ikar ledina. Ikar adin, that's the din. V'ena ben chayv lishmo lo aviv. U'beprab b'mokum sheyesh lo tsar. To the son. To the son. Means if it makes no difference to the son, why wouldn't the son do it?
But if the father knows that that deal that he's going to buy the son, he's going to go broke on that, the son's going to go broke, and then the father is going to have to bail him out financially, I mean, there is a problem here that causes anguish.
No, but here we're talking about
That may
if
not
it didn't
be
cause
what-
anguish for the son, not for the parent.
To one son.
No, what has that to do with this? It's the parents, the anguish.
Yeah.
Not the son.
I don't know, here's some, I don't know.
This is clearly no benefit or pleasure to the father. That may have.
Ve'ena ben chad v'shmo la'aviv u'beprat, meaning when it says that the ben doesn't have to listen to his father, particularly beprat b'makom sheyesh lo tsar or shedavar kosher lo. That means you want to say for the parent,
You say
Yeah.
no.
okay, and the parent as well. Okay, so he wants to say, and even in a case where the parent would be displeased by it, there's still no chiyuv for it. You still don't have to listen to the parent. Aval b'stam, but in general, lo yemanim elikayim tzivu aviv. I think it makes more sense to say that beprat b'mokum sheyesh lo tsar or shedavar kosher lo, meaning for the son. For the
I
son.
think I'm not sure it's the language or.
That means when the son, when if the son is bothered by the fact that he would have to listen to his parent, he doesn't have to listen to it. If he's not bothered, then he's going to listen to his parent.
And the father says, listen, I want you to come to my, I'm giving Yortzeit Kiddush tomorrow, I want you to come to Minyan. And you have, at the same time, you have a surgery, that you have an appointment, a business appointment you have to go to. So you're gonna lose money, right?
You don't have to do
You
it.
don't have to do it, right?
That's why I was learning that it refers to the son.
Right.
Aval b'stam lo yemanim elikim tzar. But if otherwise there's no tsar to the son, then you should listen to your father.
Right, so like.
I mean, it's a chasidus b'chol ofen yesh locho shlomal
I
ritzonim.
see.
Then he says it's a midas chasidus to listen to the father, even if it does cause tsar for you. Prat yesh oimim sheikiyum b'kosher soharim arei zechoyzer morim mifneim shuksasid v'em. And he uses the maknas lashon of by not going along with it, you're really sort of contradicting them, or
The example I just gave is an interesting case, because I'm sure we'll learn about grandparents. If some father come to a Yortzeit,
say again.
if a father says to a son, I want you to come to giving Yortzeit,
Yes,
there may be a different issue there. And
because
that's-
there's kibbut for the grandfather.
Right.
So if the father experiences great anguish due to the fact that the son doesn't fulfill his command, the Yalkut Yosef notes that the halacha is subject to a dispute, but he encourages one to follow the opinion that mitzvah honoring one's father does apply. So it goes both ways, I would say. That means even if the father is in sar because he didn't listen to me, the son is not mechuyev to do it. That's clear. Because that's clear how they're learning. But he encourages you through a midas chasidus. Mikra din, that's the din. But through midas chasidus, you could do it. Yesh misha omer. Right? There's no direct benefit. So he says very clearly the machloikas. Some say that if the father is troubled by it, you should follow the father, and some say no. He doesn't have to follow. But Yalkut Yosef wants to be machmir if you can. Now, Rav Karelitz ruled in accordance with the Chazon Ish that one should comply with one's parents' request even if they do not qualify as the classic mitzvah. We meant it's not a direct physical benefit to the parent, it's a side issue. And then he gives us some practical situations that are included. He writes that if his father's request is not justified, even the Chazon Ish agrees that no obligation exists to fulfill it. Father gives a completely unreasonable thing, you don't have to listen to it. So he says like this, Ikar mitzvahs kibud av v'eim, hu b'dvorm sheyesh b'mano v'kibud la'av v'imo, kegon machilo mashkeu, eating and drinking. V'chein b'mitzvahs moira av v'eim kegon li'yisas, don't contradict him. Lo yachriya dvarav, don't decide against their opinion. Lo yeshe b'mkomo chiyotze b'zeh. Af b'dvorm shav b'vakish b'menu. And he says the things that the father requests, v'ein b'hem mano v'kovid la'aviv, it's not direct thing to the parent. Mikol makom im aviv yitztayer. She'ena ben osa ketziva. If the father is going to be troubled, tzorach ben lasos karatzon aviv. Because remember, he passes like the Chazon Ish. Kidei shlo tzaro. Lachein chayavna ben babas. Right? Chaim says bas. Lasos l'kaim et sivui hoyreyem. Av sheyesh lem tircha v'koishi. Kagon im aviv mitzaveu liknos ezo chofetz b'makam rochak. They want you to buy them something from a really far place. The hayomim you may kork shamim. It's rainy. Or yomim chamim, or it's hot. Ulafum tsara agra. Doesn't make a difference. The more trouble it is, the more credit you get. Elim ken mavakish aben ma'aviv reshus litchos es kiyum avakosh lizman acher. You could ask them to postpone it. If they agree, then that's fine. The kol zebed vorm she'ano yisher la'aviv davki kshaviv tzodik b'vakoshaso. The father has to have a rational reason why he's asking it. The request has to be logical. If it's something outlandish, there's no kiyum of the mitzvah. Even though he might be angered that you're not doing it, he's sort of doing it to himself. By asking for some kind of ridiculous thing, he's doing it to himself. It's not really, the son's not involved in that. Then he gives some practical ben. Parents say, don't go to sleep late at night because of his health. The or to wake up early davening. You got to listen to your parent regarding that. Or they just the opposite. They say, don't sit in mishmar all night. If it really is by staying up night after night after night, they see that it's affecting his health and they advise him not to, then certainly they would have to listen to that. Let's say they came from Russia with a complicated long name. So they want to change the name. For example, Rav Ezrachi was Burg. The Rosh Hashiva Rav Ezrachi. Ezrachi means citizen. The word burger meant the citizen. Burg was the city.
Okay, that's Israeli stuff.
Well, so the question is, could that might play the same role? It means, let's say a parent is upset that they changed to V'aviv Moichabo. The father objects. Nira sheyesh tzad yisra b'zeh. Sheb'zeh umara kilu eino hem shechal shosha mishpachit. V'zeh davar shavadim etzar sohayim. Cassius Clay, when he changed his name, his parents were extremely upset with him. I'm just giving an example. That means lahavdil. But what I'm saying, if the parent is upset with the change of a name, he's bringing that as a halacha that you might have to listen to him. So halacha with regard to situations where parents ask their children to transgress a prohibition or perform an action that will cause a sin will come later. We will conclude this year with the words of the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, who explains what the true honor is that one can give to one's parents. You should study Torah do mitzvahs. Because they will say, how great were these parents that they raised such a child. They'll be embarrassed. V'enoch l'shamayim v'enoch l'brios, v'yiskabdu bonav bo. Aval mi she'eno holech b'derech hayosher, gam zra megunim achrav. Meaning, here he's saying that the father should also study, should study Torah and do Ma'asim Tovim. Because then his children will be honored through him. And somebody who doesn't do that, his children will be Maguna. V'chein ba'avan ava is bon of Mesim. Sins of the father will lead to death of the children. Poiket avan ava saboni. Ve'ein achzor gdolim mizos. There's no worse cruelty. Shugor mechatov shiyamus bonav. That through his sins, so he's saying that there's a reciprocal thing here. Children should learn Torah and the parents should learn Torah. Okay, that's the conclusion of Kibbutz Avim Volume 1. We'll do Kibbutz Avim Volume 2 next week, God willing.